Good everyone, in today's video today we have the last ever non-in-depth Spade review, and it's on a jet. Now I know what some people are thinking. Hold on a minute, Joe. You don't play jets. You're right, but this was requested by Derek Reinhardt. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And this is for the AR-234 B-2. I think it's called the Blitz or something like that. So the AR-234 is a rank 5 battle rated 6.3 jet bomber, and it's the first jet that I've actually spaded. And obviously he wanted me to review it, and I was like, well, it's probably going to be one of the more quicker reviews, because obviously I don't know as much about jets as I do props. But learning about how to fly this thing has really gotten me to learn a lot more, shall we say. I felt like I could do stuff in this that I couldn't do in a prop, if that makes sense. Like, I can't be as aggressive as I can be in this compared to I don't know, something like a 177. And that's mainly down to the speed of this aircraft. Now, it's a two, shall I say, it's a two-sided coin, this aircraft speed is. Its main defense, because obviously this thing has no guns, is its speed. Now, in a down tier, you're relatively safe. The props will be able to catch you in a dive, but if they can't dive on you, you will outrun them on the deck for the most part. The only prop that will present a danger to you will be the Bearcats, and well, the only props I should really say are the Bearcats, the Mustang, the PVD-1 Mustang H variant, and also the Tempest, specifically the Tempest Mark II. Now, this aircraft can still outrun them, but it's going to be hard to do so, especially if you pull tight turns. Because obviously this thing loses energy quite a bit, and being an early jet engined aircraft, it doesn't have that much thrust compared to what would be a prop. So let's go over the aircraft, and this hangar section will be shorter than usual because there's not a lot to cover. So in terms of engines, we are powered by two Junkers Jumo 004 B1 jet engines with 910 kilograms of force each. Not bad, to be honest. Given I've seen jet engines with a shit ton lower than this, I have to admit this isn't too bad. I mean, the acceleration isn't very good, but it's an early jet, so you can't really expect anything like that. And also, one engine flight on this aircraft is pretty much impossible for the most part. This thing cannot maintain flight on one engine. It just struggles. And the second your engines hit anyway, you start leaking oil like crazy, and you lose power quite quickly in the jet engines compared to the props when it leaks oil. So just bear that in mind. And obviously, if your engine is damaged a bit more, your engine will fail very quickly due to jet engines not liking damage all that much. But obviously, inside the aircraft, we only have two central fuel tanks, and we just have the pilot. There's not a lot to cover in here. In terms of armor plating, there's a single 15mm plate, which can actually stop 50 cal pretty well, and the aircraft is pretty tanky anyway, other than the engines themselves. Now let's go over the stat card, and I can point out just some pure BS. Because, well, I love to point out Gaijin's BS. Max speed 461, yeah, in a dive. This thing will do about 420 to 440 on the deck, so you're not going to be hitting 460, but in a dive you easily will. Turn time 28.5 seconds, which normally is rudder only. No, this thing is actually really maneuverable for what it is. Rate of climb 5,610 feet per minute. Yeah, get stuff. That ain't happening in a million years. I'll tell you that right now. The climb rate is more equivalent to about 3,000 feet a minute, to about 3.5 if you're not carrying bombs. Now the bombs do weigh it down, and on the deck you will only hit it about 340 to 370 miles an hour in terms of carrying a bomb load. Now this is the bomb load that you can start off with is 3 500 kilogram bombs. This will kill a base other than the double base maps, which require 2 drops. As in, you'd have to drop 6 500 kilogram bombs to get the target destroyed. And using the tricks that I've learned, you can get in and out relatively safe, even in the max up tier. Now, against jets, it's going to be much harder to fight. Against other jets, the only real jet you might have a chance of outrunning is a Yak 15. Every single other jet that I've encountered so far has been able to catch this aircraft. So yeah, your speed against jets is kind of pointless. Now, personally, I would want to replace the center bomb rack with the 20mm, or to convert this aircraft into the B-2N model, which was a night fighting variant of the B-2, and essentially it carried a 20mm gun in a gun pod underneath the central, or where the central bomb is right now. I'm not sure about ammunition capacity, but I'd gladly trade a 500 kilogram bomb for a cannon, personally, because most of the time I just felt useless flying this plane, and it felt very boring to do the same stuff over and over again. In terms of other bomb loads, you have access to 3 250s, a 1000, a 1000 and two 250s, and obviously the bomb load I said you should carry from the start, and all the way to the Spade, which is exactly what I did, because it was just easier on it. In terms of how I did in the vehicle, to say I had some degree of fun was very low key. I mean, this one battle I'm going to show you was the most fun I had. But otherwise, as you can tell, 29 matches to Spade, the plane, 37% win rate. The teams are terrible. 8 deaths, 2 air kills. You'll see how I got those. 55 ground units and 3 landing craft. Not particularly amazing, but it is a bomber. You're not going to get anything out of a bomber that's too decent anyway. I mean, you might get a 1-1 if you're lucky, but even so, it's just a nice change from being able to fly a jet, like from being able to fly props to a jet, which this thing has taught me a couple of things, but at the same time, I just don't think it's my cup of tea. But even so, I gave it a chance, and well, it can actually be fun if you know what you're doing. So as mentioned, like I say, pretty much every jet that you're going to encounter is able to catch you, and that's putting that lightly. I nearly had I nearly was able to outrun a meteor, but the meteor soon got wound up and caught up, and I had to throw this thing around quite harshly. And you'll see the maneuverability; it's actually not too bad. Okay, so let's get into the battle and let's see what happened, shall we? Because obviously, as you saw, 2 air kills in this battle. I'm fairly certain some people can work it out already, but there's only one way you're getting air kills out of this aircraft. That's by using the bombs themselves. So obviously my usual tactics, obviously we're in a 6.3 game, is to simply dive in, leave myself about 6,000 feet or about 2,000 meters of altitude roughly, to then do a sharp right or sharp left turn whilst diving. That is typically how I flew this aircraft. This seemed to get me the better results in the down tiers, but in the up tiers, it was 50-50, as you can tell by the 8 deaths, because, well, that's just how it was. I mean, that just tends to happen. I mean, F-84s, F-80s, those A2D Sky Sharks, basically stuff you don't want to deal with. So as you can tell, I'm just making my way towards the right base, and obviously because I'm top dog, so to speak, I am able to use my speed. Now you can actually beat the 288s to bases. They will rip before they get to your speed any day of the week, which is a huge benefit. And trust me, it's handy when one of the little bastards tries to steal your base, because trust me, I had that a lot. 288s tried to steal my base, I just put my nose down, outran them, and they were mad because they couldn't steal my base. Seems there's a lot of toxic 288 players out nowadays, which, to be fair, I kind of expected that. And obviously, as you can tell, the aircraft's speed is good. To say it's lugging 1,500 kilograms in external payload, because obviously it doesn't have a bomb bay, it is relatively quick. But obviously once you get the bombs off, which I'm about to do in a second, it's even faster. So I swing the plane around and I do the sharp right, but also a dive. I lost a bit of speed there, but this gives me a chance to regain that speed. This tended to work for me. And obviously in a down tier, it's fine because the majority of props are either too slow to get there, or the ones like that Morley you saw a couple of minutes ago who just got eaten by that 410, they wouldn't catch me even if they pulled up. They might get a lucky shot, but they'll only get one shot to do it, and then they're out of speed. And as you can tell, the aircraft is maintaining about 440 on the deck. The aircraft was, I think it was about 3/4 spaded at the time, so I was missing the cover, the wings repaired, the bomb load because I left that till last, and the fuselage repair. This typically seems to be the best way to go down the upgrade tree, because obviously the aircraft is mostly focused on speed. So focusing on the performance modules, because that's the only thing you can really do, well I say that, more like the more key engine modifications and stuff like that, is really key to getting this aircraft as high as you can. So I'm just going to skip us forward, because obviously we are flying back to base at the moment, and well, it doesn't take that long to get there, to be honest. And doing some funky maneuvers to slow down the aircraft and everything is very handy to get the aircraft to a stop and obviously help with the aircraft's landing. Now, on landing approach, you are most vulnerable, because obviously, in real life this was the case as well. Now, what's not being shown is A, the bombs, and B, the JATO. Well, at least I think it's JATO, or is it RATO or whatever, it's one of the two. Essentially, this aircraft is fitted with RATO. Like, you can't see them because they're not under the wings at the moment for some reason. But you get these small little rocket booster pods of some kind, and they assist with the aircraft of taking off. I don't know if it's going to show in the replay, because at the moment I'm sat debating whether to take off again. And there you go. You see them orange trails coming off the wings? That is where the JATO is. Well, I'm just going to call it JATO because it's pretty much the same. I mean, there is JATO stands for Jet Assisted Takeoff, and there's also Rocket Assisted Takeoff, which they're pretty much the same thing. I don't care which one it is. At the end of the day, I'm trying to get this thing airborne. And as you can see at this point, this 190 over here, once Home Glow, has gotten the bright idea to bring a P-51H Mustang to an Arado and a 288 when we're both low on speed and one of us don't have guns. As you can imagine, I was not happy with this guy, because I was on my own in this battle. I was not happy with this chap, let's put it that way. So the Tempest and the Mustang have now, and also a Corsair, have now joined the party. One thing I tended to notice was that prop pilots tend to see red when they see a jet, so you can use that to your advantage. And bombs away, bombs have been dropped, bye bye Corsair, kill number one. That's how you have to do it, unfortunately. Now, as you can tell, the aircraft has been hit pretty hard, because obviously the 20mm cannons on the Corsair are amazing. And I'm at low thrust. This aircraft really doesn't accelerate below about 300 miles an hour. I've got a crit wing, and I've got a Mustang coming in. And as you can tell, the 190 ain't doing shit. He's too busy following our Arado and not doing anything to actually assist us. And at this point, I'm having to flow around the Arado in defensive maneuvers to try and get him off. I've taken right engine damage, we've just lost the Arado 234 behind me, and the 190 is still not doing anything. It's only now where he decides to engage, and he takes a head-on with a Tempest in a minute. Or is it the Mustang he takes head-on with? It's one of the two, and he gets shredded. And at this point, I'm trying to put the aircraft down. I want to get the plane on the ground. But obviously, I soon realise at this point that he ain't doing shit back there. So I've got to retract the wheels, retract the flaps, and try and regain some thrust, which it ain't happening at this speed. I'm only just keeping the aircraft airborne. And here comes the Tempest and the Mustang. The Tempest must have thought I was going for a landing, which I was, but he decides to fly right into the AAA, and obviously I'm only at 220 miles an hour. I'm not accelerating the Tempest on the deck. But luckily the AAA does manage to nail him, and I think at this point, well, it's down to me and a tar. What can I do? I've got a Mustang trailing, I'm heavily damaged, and I'll soon be an engine down. I want to get this thing on the ground. And remember, I've still got a bomb on board. Unbeknownst to some of you, like you may not have realised, I've still got a 500 kilogram bomb on board. And I'm glad I kept that bomb. Let's put it that way. So at this point, the Mustang does get hit by flak, and at this point, he's coming in for the kill. He wants to finish me off. If he's going down, he's trying to take me with him. But I was ready for him. Bomb away. Boom goes the dynamite. Kill number 2. And let's put it this way, I was giggling. Like, that was amazing. I've never done something like 2 jingle bombs back to back. I've never done that before. I've only done it like once. Like, once a game and then onto the next one, did a jingle bomb or whatever. I've never done 2 in a game, so this was something to really behold. Now, unfortunately, there's a sound bug in this replay because the jet engines aren't sounding very loud. It doesn't sound like it anyway. And also, as mentioned, the Rato, JATO, whatever it is still not rendering and everything. And the last teammate alive is that tar, who's about to get his ass kicked. So it's down to me in an Arado B-2 with no guns, and those props will catch me on the deck, especially with a full bomb load on. They will catch me. And there goes the tar. Now in fairness, he does take out the Mustang, but it's a Griffin Spitfire. It can still keep up. Obviously, as mentioned, I've got bombs back on board, and obviously I'm trying to find a target. And I've decided to go for these 2 light tanks over here. 2 bombs away, and those tanks are history. I swing the Arado back round to finish off the game. And obviously I picked this medium tank right here, which is parked. And bomb away. And that's it. That is game over. 2 air kills, just over 0.7 of a ton, and 3 ground units. So I hope this brings a little twist. Obviously, I will not be spading too many more jets. I'm probably going to stick in the early jets just to see how I like them, and maybe go into like 7.0 jets at most, because at the end of the day, any higher than that, and it's just Wallet Warrior Central. But the Arado's really taught me a couple of things, and whilst I said it was boring at the start, this battle certainly changed that. But anyway, I'm going to let you guys off. I hope you enjoyed today's review on the AR234B2, and I will catch you all on the next one.